Life has a strange way of weaving its threads, pulling together people and moments in ways that defy logic or expectation. Sometimes, what begins as an ordinary relationship can transform into something extraordinary, leaving us stunned by the sheer unpredictability of life. This is one such story, a tale of friendship, family, and an unforeseen bond that changed everything. My best friend, Mark, and I had been inseparable since childhood. From climbing trees in the neighborhood to navigating the awkwardness of high school, we had been through it all together. We were brothers in every way except blood. Mark was the kind of friend who would drop everything to help you out, the person you could call at 3 a.m. without hesitation. As we grew older, life naturally pulled us in different directions. I pursued a career in journalism, traveling frequently and immersing myself in work, while Mark settled down earlier than expected. He married his college sweetheart, Sarah, and they soon welcomed a beautiful baby girl into the world, Emily. I remember the first time I held Emily in my arms. She was barely a month old, wrapped snugly in a pink blanket, her tiny fingers curling around mine. "Meet your uncle," Mark had said, his voice brimming with pride. From that moment on, I became Uncle Jack to Emily, a title I wore proudly even as my visits became fewer and farther between due to my career. Time has a funny way of slipping through our fingers when we're not paying attention. Before I knew it, Emily had grown from a giggling toddler into a bright, inquisitive teenager. My interactions with her were sporadic at best, holiday visits, birthday parties, and the occasional video call when Mark insisted. To me, she was always Mark's daughter, someone I cared about but didn't truly know. It wasn't until Emily turned 18 that our paths crossed in a way I could never have anticipated. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when I received an email from Emily. The subject line read, *, a favor from Uncle Jack. *, intrigued, I opened it immediately. The message was polite yet direct. Emily was applying to journalism school and wanted to pick my brain about the industry. She had read some of my articles and admired my work, she said. Could we meet for coffee? I was surprised, but delighted. I hadn't realized she even knew what I did for a living, let alone followed my work. We arranged to meet at a small cafe downtown the following weekend. When Emily walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. The last time I'd seen her, she was an awkward teenager with braces and a penchant for oversized hoodies. Now, she was a confident young woman with sharp eyes and an air of determination that reminded me of, well, me. Our conversation that day was nothing short of riveting. Emily wasn't just interested in journalism, she was passionate about it. She spoke with eloquence and insight about the power of storytelling, the responsibility of truth-telling, and her dreams of uncovering stories that mattered. Her questions were thoughtful and probing, forcing me to reflect on my own career in ways I hadn't before. As the hours flew by, I found myself forgetting that this was Mark's daughter. Instead, I saw her as an equal, a curious mind brimming with potential. By the time we parted ways, I felt an unexpected sense of pride and excitement. Emily wasn't just following in my footsteps, she was carving out a path all her own. Over the next few months, Emily and I stayed in touch regularly. She would send me drafts of her essays for feedback, ask for advice on internships, and share updates about her college applications. In turn, I found myself opening up to her about my own experiences, the triumphs and failures that had shaped my journey as a journalist. Our relationship deepened in ways I hadn't anticipated. She wasn't just my best friend's daughter anymore, she was someone I genuinely admired and cared for deeply. It was as if life had handed me a little sister when I least expected it. Of course, this newfound connection didn't go unnoticed by Mark. One evening over beers at his house, he brought it up with a smirk. "So," he said casually, "Emily tells me you're her mentor now." I laughed. "She's incredible, Mark. You and Sarah raised an amazing kid." His expression softened. "She's always looked up to you, you know. Even when you weren't around much." That admission hit me harder than I expected. I hadn't realized how much of an impact I'd had on Emily's life from afar. It made me even more determined to be there for her moving forward. Just when I thought I understood the nature of my relationship with Emily, life threw another curveball my way. It happened during one of our coffee meetups. Emily had just received her first acceptance letter to journalism school, and we were celebrating over lattes and pastries. As we talked about her plans for the future, she suddenly grew serious. "There's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice tinged with hesitation. I leaned forward, concerned. "What is it?" She took a deep breath before speaking. "You've always been like family to me, but there's something more to it than that." I frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" Emily reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph, one I recognized instantly. It was a picture of Mark and me from our college days, arms slung around each other's shoulders at some long-forgotten party. "I found this in Dad's office," she said quietly. "And on the back, there's a note." She handed me the photo, and I turned it over to read the scrawled handwriting on the back. Asterisk, "To my brother Jack, thank you for being there when I couldn't." Asterisk. My heart stopped. Emily's eyes searched mine as she continued. "Dad told me everything, about how you were there for Mom when he was away for work, how you helped them through some tough times before I was born." I stared at her in disbelief as the pieces fell into place. Mark had never told me directly, but now it all made sense: the late-night calls for advice during their early marriage, the times he'd asked me to check on Sarah while he was traveling. Emily's voice broke through my thoughts. "Uncle Jack, you're more than just my mentor or family friend. You're part of why I'm here today." The revelation left me reeling but also filled me with an overwhelming sense of gratitude and responsibility. My bond with Mark had always been unshakable, but now it extended to Emily in ways neither of us could have predicted. From that day forward, our relationship took on new meaning. Emily wasn't just the daughter of my best friend, she was someone whose life I had unknowingly shaped, and who had now profoundly impacted mine in return. Life is full of surprises, and sometimes the most unexpected connections are the ones that leave us forever changed.